So moving on to the example for chapter 9.3, this is not in the lecture notes a figure it out problem. It just says profit maximization, a mathematical approach. So we're going to treat this like a figure it out problem. And then one of the bonus questions looks very similar to it. So hopefully this will be a good guide for answering that bonus question. So we have an example here asking you to consider the market for iPads. Obviously, Apple is the only company that makes iPads, so Apple has some ability to set their own prices. Because they are able to set their own prices, the example ends up being a little bit more complicated than stuff that we dealt with last chapter. So the marginal cost in this example is 200, and the demand function Q equals 200 minus 0.2 P. What we want to know is how to determine the profit maximizing price quantity combination. In order to do this, the first step is we have to derive the marginal revenue function. So above, we said that Q is equal to 200 minus 0.2p. Remember, we have to first find the inverse demand function. That just means solving this same equation, but for p. So we're going to do some algebra, move 0.2p over to the left-hand side, and subtract over the q. Now divide by 0.2, and p is equal to 1,000 minus 5q. We have a linear demand curve, so we can use our formula. Marginal revenue equals A minus 2BQ. Again, we're just substituting in our inverse demand function values above here. So 1,000 is our A, and 5 is our B. So marginal revenue equals 1,000 minus 2 times 5Q. So marginal revenue is equal to 1,000 minus 10Q. Okay. For the next step, we have to find our profit maximizing output. So find output Q star, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. We have our marginal revenue equation right there. So we say 1,000 minus 10Q. And we said that in the problem, we're given marginal cost, which is equal to 200. So now we just have to solve for Q, bring the 10Q over, and we say 10Q equals 800. So Q star equals 80. And last but not least, we're going to try to find our profit maximizing P, profit maximizing price. We can go back to our inverse demand curve, which we said was P equals 1,000 minus 5Q. And we're just going to plug our equilibrium Q in. So P equals 1,000 minus 5 times 80. P equals 1,000 minus 400. So P star is equal to 600. This example, that's about what you'd expect a iPad to cost. So it's not unreasonable to think that this model actually works decently well. So to recap, we have the profit maximizing price equals 600, and the profit maximizing quantity produced is 80. And that is our profit maximizing condition.